We're going to go me. So you're going to stun falsetto. Yeah. Now, the reason why we're going to do this falsetto before we go in full chest tone singing is just to warm up those muscles, the falsetto muscles I call them. They're the finer muscles around the folds and in the false step. Sometimes if they're not well warmed up, they can collapse a little in the higher range and then everything falls against the throat, okay? So if we warm these muscles up a bit and get a bit of squeal happening and tightening them and strengthening them over time, you're going to find your high notes are going to come right down. They're going to be easy to get to, okay? So we're going to do a bit of this muscle training and sort of heating them up so they're nice and warm and awake to do the rest of the work, right? So we're going to go E. Now, when you're doing E, tongue stuck in your teeth, you work from the high end, the back of the tongue saying E. E. Yeah, but in falsetto now. E. No, me. Me. Now, see it's breathy, it has to vibrate and whistle. Now, remember the same breathing, breath in the chest. When you start to emit your tone, the stomach, the lower pelvis, the lower section from the belly button down to your sexual area, that whole lower section falls out so your back can lock in and support, okay? So, me. Now that's connecting chest. I want falsetto. Me. There you go. Now don't pull in your face though. Me. Now you're going like this. I need you to release that. We never touch this area of muscles.
Okay.
We only open here and we work with that, but we don't work with this. So, me. Yeah, you can't even twitch your eyebrows. Not allowed to move
Okay.
Now you're whistling on the roof and you're rolling over with your ear. Okay, go. Now we're going to go down semitones. Like that, okay? And one more. It's a minor 6 down, okay? Go. Breath. Don't pull in at the bottom. Go. Mix. Falsetto. And one more. Take a breath. Now you have to, as ridiculous as you think this may sound, right, you have to tune this falsetto. The falsetto voices I'm understanding over many years, after many years of trialing and erroring, I've understood that it is so crucial important, especially for a high male voice known as the tenor voice, to work this voice. Now great singers like Benjamin Ogidi, Skipper, Caruso, all these sort of singers, you don't hear about it, but they practice this squillo of the falsetto all the time in order to keep the voice light. So it wouldn't lose the squeal part of the tone. The squeal is the core center of the tone. All the fat part in the mouth, they're just resonances, but you have to have the squeal locked on the roof of the mouth in order to keep the voice pitched and tuned to the orchestra and also out there in the theatre. So if your whistle, I call the squeal, the whistle ring of the tone, if that whistle's flat in your mouth, you're flat out of your mouth. So if you keep the whistle in your tone, in tune in your mouth, stuck on the roof of the mouth like a chewing gum, right? All your resonances resonate to the correct frequency of what's outside of you, which is the orchestra, okay? So it's very important to tune that whistle to the note of the piano. It has to sound whistling on the roof of the mouth in tune to what's out of your mouth, okay? Go. So if I do this, see it's flat, right? Now, if I tune to that flatness over time, my chest voice will be flat.
Okay.
Because I'm understanding that you tune your falsetto, that's the formulas tells your brain how to tune the full fold tension. Because when we do falsetto, we're not in full fold tension. We're in half fold tension. Okay, so and the glottis is right at the front end, so it's a tight action, but only happening at the front end. So the muscles around the front here are working harder than the ones at the back. Okay, the ones at the back are working tight, sorry, and the ones at the front are having to release and tighten to chop in and out. Okay. Yeah, go. A little bit on the sharp side. One more. Feel the lungs. Good, go. Finish it. Same note at the end, go.
Still really, really breathy.
Yeah, it is breathy, but that's not your fault. It's never been trained. It needs a bit of time for that to come into squeal. When that comes into squeal, you watch your chest voice. So, what happens is in the higher range, if we're singing connected, your vocals tilt up to go to high notes, and the hole is normally that big. By the time it tilts up, the hole becomes that big. Understand? So the hole's only at the front here, and that's, if you're looking this way, so it moves right at the front, right over here. When you're doing low notes, the whole vocal cord is moving. In high notes, only this section is moving, this front bit, like that. Okay.
So that is the glottis.
Yeah, the glottis is the two
vocal
vocal cords. So the two vocal cords are right here. Okay, so they're right there. Now our job is to learn to send the air through the middle where the hole is, and capture it and release it right there. But we don't want to get caught whole air pressure, the carbon dioxide getting caught under the fold while parts of it is going through. So you don't want this sort of thing, okay? Otherwise you have what we call sub-pressure under the vocal cords. When that vocal cord is stressed like that, guess what it's joined to? The wall. And the wall's all made of ligaments and muscles too. So when it feels that pressure there, the wall, what does it do? It contracts. Because of that pressure. Because of that pressure, it makes the vocal cords joined to that. The wall gets pulled in. When it contracts, less room for air to pass through, or tone. And then, you get that sort of, you don't get that open resonant tone, you get that grinded, squeezed up little sound, okay? And there are many singers, especially in opera, that sing like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially young singers now, because what's happened is we've gotten so experimental with technique to the point that we've lost our direction as to what is natural.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go, next one. has chest. When the reedy tone comes in, you've accessed your chest voice.
Okay. Yeah.
I want you to exit it. Yeah, you got to stay in that high end sort of sound. Yeah. No, stop. We stop when you're making mistakes like that. We have to stop in order to give your brain time to just forget. Okay, from here again. Go. Now hold it. One more down. No sniff breathing, only open throat breathing. Good in. Now finish it. Very good. Okay, here we go. Again. And one more go. Bravo! That's good. So you respect that falsetto like it's the most important thing, and that's the HTML that makes the program, which is the real voice, work properly. You understand?
Yeah.
So when you have the real voice, the full connected tone of all the bones and spine in the sound, when you have all that, that relies on this falsetto, which is the subconscious HTML running in the background. Because it's the subconscious voice, the falsetto, that's telling the conscious how to line up and center the note. So if your subconscious is out of tune, that explains why people sing out of tune. And people that are tone deaf, they can't even come close to tune their falsetto.
Yeah.
So and their falsetto is just so badly out of tune, they have no idea where to put the real voice. So that's something that the Lord Jesus showed me. You know? For all the people out there who don't believe, they won't understand. But because I was never taught about falsetto and its importance. Now, yeah, there is air escape in your falsetto, and a lot of people are probably going to think, what the hell is that? You know, and that's why we're working on the eval, because the eval teaches the vocal folds. It tightens up the folds right in, so the hole is so small that air can't escape through anymore. At the moment, you're over here, you've got to close in, you have to close the gap, and that'll come in time if we keep massaging the larynx and the folds to working closer, encouragingly, without pressure build up under the folds. If you're doing it correctly and there's still air escape, but you're not getting caught under the folds, it needs a bit of time for them to learn to close in. Once they close in, you'll get real whistle in your falsetto. You're going to get power. You're going to be amazed at the power you're going to get. It'll become so squealy
Yeah.
Now when you connect a chest voice, you're going to go up to the passaggio and it's just going to go right through. You can feel no pressure build up underneath your vocal cords. A lot of tenors today, they're having to push against their throats to try and get past that passaggio. Alright? So these ligaments are really important for making that larynx feel light.
Yeah.
Here we go, next bit. I need to hear the M split and the M bounce off the lip, not go in the mouth. Right. 2, 3, go. On the sharp end, do it again, go. Beautiful. Okay. Now you're wondering, why is he stopping all the time? Why is he having these 30, 40-second breaths? Because believe it or not, even though you're not hurting there, even though you don't feel pain when you do this exercise, you feel nothing, like go ahead, I could go another 5 if you wanted. It's not about continuing on until you reach the painful state of fatigue. You never sing thinking, oh, this is so easy, let's do another 10 more without resting. Right? The reason why it's getting easier is because I stop and give you rests. Every time you rest, the muscles recoup. They come back more elasticized, more warmed up, and they move better. Okay, they do what they're meant to do in a better way because you give them good rests.
Yeah.
It's like a caress on the animal once it's done a very good thing. You know, if you said sit and it sits and you pat it and say well done, the dog actually wants to obey more. Because he goes, oh, my owner's treating you nice. Geez, I only just sat. Wow, I'm going to do something else for him too because he's being nice to me. So even the throat's like that. You treat it nice, it's going to give you more. Okay, so that's all.
What do you reckon when busking? Should I rest every couple of songs? Or, 'cause I don't
yeah, sing 1 or 2 songs. As long as they're not high, you can sing 3 or 4.
Yeah.
If you're singing songs over passaggio, F, G's and A's, I think you need to have little breaths.
Yeah, because I still charge it like an hour and a half.
Yeah, because when you're singing high range, well into the high B flats, B's and high C's, we have to understand that, we have to find a natural means by which to get there without putting any strain on the throat. But remember also that it is a different zone of it from where we speak. And so there is wear and tear after a bit of time of singing up there. There's wear and tear, there's fatigue, like in a gym. You can walk in and be super strong at the start of the session, but by the end your muscles starting to get tight, you know what I mean? You're not made of steel, you're made of flesh. Okay? So even flesh fatigues, so you've got to give it rest. If you give it good rest, your 1 hour session could span out to 2.5 hours if you know how to train and not give it good rest and then move to another exercise and come back to the same muscle later. If you know how to do that, well then you're going to go longer in your session, but you're still going to get tired by the end. When muscles fatigue, the whole body's energy drains. Okay, and then what do you do after that? You rest. You rest. When you've sung for 2 hours in testing sort of range, you have to have a rest for the rest of the day and maybe the next day, just to get your energies back. But if you're singing open throat naturally, you probably find the next day your voice is strong and ready to go again. I always say have a good protein diet because protein helps muscles heal faster. Try and avoid dairy because unless you can digest lactose, many people are lactose intolerant after puberty. because we don't produce the lactase enzyme naturally anymore.
Plant-based.
By the way, people watching me drink milk, that's lactose free milk. So lactose free is good. Yeah, it doesn't give you mucus. Make sure you establish a focused squeal on the roof and on the back of your soft palate. Go. You feel that whistle?
Yeah.
That's what's got to be in your falsetto. But it comes off the palate through coming into a focused vibration. You can't force focus. It happens. When everything hits all centered here, there, they're the 3 points.
Yeah.
Okay? 1, 2, and 3. They're the 3 points that you know when you're in tune. When they're all whistling intensely in those 3 points, you know that you're in tune. Out there. Yeah. Right? And on the roof of the mouth. So do it again. Go. Position in the throat when you're doing that falsetto on the roof. You feel it's working right down in there.
Kind of.
Yeah, but it's not the full. It's not all the apparatus of muscles working there. It's only a certain light end of muscles that are working. That's good. Remember to always open your mouth. The more you open, the more whistle you'll get.
Okay.
The less you open, the more pressure you get, and more air escape. Yeah. So it's actually the opposite. You think closing in, you're going to get rid of the air escape. You actually create pressure, and it forces the air apart. Because when the air starts sitting under the folds here while some of it's going through, guess what it does? The air here pushes the fold out. It pushes it out that way. So it makes it harder for it to close up. So by releasing that, you just need to stretch your jaws a bit more. Make more effort to say E with the tongue. And now you got the whistle. So, as you go that, it's more pressure. Okay? And you get more tone.
Yeah.
It's easier and you get a bigger sound. Here we go. Okay, if you're going to have your hands on your body, which is good, this hand should always be on the upper chest bone, not down in the middle where between your chest and your abdominal. So always up here, because the hand there is to monitor that air is going into your lungs and that the chest is rising forward while the ribs are opening out to the side. So, okay, now this breathing, which is so natural, happens in everyday talking, and if you haven't strained and enforced an abdominal breathing system over many years, because your body can end up locking itself up in areas and only other areas move, right? But you're very natural, you haven't been tampered with. And yeah, if you play sports or basketball or footy and you're huffing and puffing, you'll notice this is the part that's moving. If that's Mother Nature, why do we want to do something else? You know, here we go. Go for it. Next one. And again. Next. Finish it. Yeah, I want the whole mouth whistling. Go. Feel the lungs.
I feel like something buzzing.
That's good. Go. They're just bones turning on. Even your eardrums starting to buzz. Go. Breath. And full voice. Go. Rest.
Is that good? I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something in the back like zzz.
When you're getting buzz anywhere,
Yeah.
just know that that is vibration and resonance turning on in your bones. Now, if you're getting a buzz around there, it's close to the eardrum, isn't it? That's the eardrum probably creating some echo noises, okay? So that's actually a good thing. The more you buzz, the better it is.
Okay.
Go. Go. Hear that ring?
Do you want that ring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mate, that's the whole voice down low and high has to do that.
Okay.
You understand? That's
Yeah.
the voice coming into focus.
Yeah.
When it comes into focus, it means air stops escaping and ring starts to turn on right throughout your spine. Your spine is the, I don't know what to say, but it's the vibrating object that turns on all your echoes in your
Yeah.
body. Now, we're singing our vowels to the back and hitting into the soft palate because right behind you are the vertebrae. So you're hitting into your vertebrae and then the vibration runs like a current down your spine and up into your skull and turns on these front echo chambers. You understand? It's like an electric current. Here we go. Now, by the way, this is not opera technique. If people are out there thinking we're an opera school, we teach people to sing in full tone acoustically. We don't need microphones. But if you put a microphone to this kind of technique, people standing next to you on stage just won't be heard, or you'll stand out too far from the rest. Okay? You'll be able to sing heavy metal, R&B, blues, jazz, musical, operetta, grand opera, German lead, classic songs, anything with this same technique, and as long as you know how to swing a tune, rhythmicize a tune, or lyricize a tune, you will be able to sing in any style. This tone, by the way, develops from the bones, so it doesn't change the colour of your voice and classify you only into one category of music. It is your sound. It's a magnification of your speaking voice in its fullest potential of resonance. Okay, so when you have your full resonances all ringing and resonating when your mouth opens, along with the word coming out, well then you know you're not going to sound thin and weak. You're going to stand out. Doesn't matter what style you sing. Okay, so it's very important that people understand that. Here we go. Go. See how I make a good effort to stretch those jaws away. Go. Yeah, you hear that whistle. Keep the pelvis forward. Ooh, did you hear that? Go.
Yeah.
Let's tune that note. Go. Me. Go. And finish it. Bravo. Well done. Now, as I said, we're in high range here. The muscles and the ligaments are not tired. They're not sounding tired. You don't feel fatigue in there. Might feel a little bit of heat, a little bit of rub on the vocal cords. That's all normal. That's because they're working with, there's friction build up there when the muscles are doing their hard tensions, okay? That's normal. It's like in gym training. You do the curls and bar after 5 or 6 of them, especially if it's a bit of heavy weight on the bar, the muscle starts to burn a bit and it's starting to get a bit tight, right? The same thing happens here. That's why you sing and then you rest. You sing and then you rest. And if you rest properly, you can come and do the next round and you'll be strong. You understand? So that's what we're doing. Okay. What I heard then was the consonant went into the mouth and twirled with the vowel.
Okay.
Consonants, if they're the lips there, okay, they're the lips. When the lips split, the M is right there. It's buzzing right there on the lip. The moment it splits, the M has to bounce off the lip and go out. If the lips split and the M buzzing there goes, and then it goes in and then out, it sounds like this. But you don't hear an M. Okay? When you go me, now you hear the consonant splits from the vowel. Okay? It's like they separate and then they come out of the mouth. So the vowel's always after the consonant. The consonant always goes first, then the vowel. They work side by side, but they're never molded together. If I was to, even like l, t, ti, ka, to, chu, pe, okay? Right? We don't talk like that. We don't swallow our consonants in our mouth. Okay? Otherwise you'd think something's wrong with me. We work at the tip of the tongue, teeth and lips. And from that point, the moment the vibration starts here, they're bouncing off the teeth, lips and the tip of the tongue out of our mouth and into the auditorium. Okay? So, Santa Maria, prega per me. Come fly with me. Let's fly away. Okay? So we're going to go, come fly with me. Let's fly away. Okay? That would mean the consonants are going in the mouth and then coming out. And you actually, by the time the consonant falls back and mixes in with the vowel, it's lost. And then you sort of go, what was he saying? Right? So, And it also, consonants falling into the mouth create too much relaxation around the tongue muscle, the jaws. We don't want things to go too limp and relaxed, okay? Otherwise we lose tension in the folds, okay? And then everything starts to push against the throat, right? So it's very important that consonants are working and bouncing off. They're bouncing off your organs. I actually have to hear I've got to hear the split, alright? Like a crack of lightning. Go. Go. Now, all of that without the accompaniment of the head. Okay. Go. Breath in the chest, attack and release the abdomen. Go. Good, now we're getting some squeal coming through. Breath in the chest, attack and release the pelvis. In the chest, and now out. Good. We stopped there on falsetto at a high C. You could probably reach a G above that. But remember, for all the people and viewers watching, when you work falsetto, we're there to promote strengthening, not weakening. So if you want to exaggerate and go beyond a high C and take it as high as you can, and you don't feel pain, but believe me, you're going to be knocking them out and then you won't be able to sing anything. Anyway, now, we're starting here. Remember we're doing the R vowel? Still want to go on the R vowel. Actually, let's do E. Okay. So, me, but this is connected voice now. Now, when you hum, you never hum in here.
Okay, so don't do that.
This is a red zone. You never sing in there. Because the ligaments in there are so tender and delicate, you don't want to build pressures in here. You're always singing on the roof of the mouth. All singing, closed mouth or open, rolls over the roof. Now, don't lift your forehead though. Work with your, take a breath, release. Now, you can close your lips properly. And you want to see your teeth sort of just resting over each other. They don't have to clench, but they rest over each other when you close your mouth. That when the jaws cross over, it helps the sound to go up onto the roof. Okay? Now you should feel all this area buzzing, especially your lips, right? Because why do your lips buzz? Because the teeth are behind them. It's the enamel that's trembling that's causing the lip to do that, right? Okay, so can you feel all of that buzzing? You feel all of that tickling? You feel the pressure right there. There's a pressure there, a point and pressure right there, and a point and pressure. Listen, point and pressure there. There's a point and pressure right there, point and pressure's right here, there, and in the tip of the nose and in the bridge. Okay, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all pressure points where you feel like a laser beam's hitting in those areas. So,
Feel it.
Can you feel it?
Just feel it with my hand.
Yeah, alright, good. So, me. Remember, it's always about opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't get your lips caught in it. So you're working me. Now, but you're going me, and I'm me. Yeah, go me. You're going to get a lot of squeal here, and I want that. Work on the roof of the mouth. Can you feel your vowel is hitting right in the soft palate there? It's right at the back, hitting in the vertebrae. Yeah, it's like you're hitting into your vertebrae with your vowel. There's your soft palate. You're going right through, and it hits into the vibration hits in and then it turns on the whole. And now, but if that's your tongue and you're hitting your vowel to the back, it feels like it's rolling at the front. Feel the ball rolling at the front. but it's actually hitting at the back of the belt, right? Now you gotta go. Don't pull away. Sing into it. Go.
Yeah. How far off? We just keep going up.
It's an octave. You're doing every interval within the octave.
Oh, yeah.
Go. Finish it. No, finish it. We're coming down now. Now the direction changes. We started the first one from the bottom tonic going up.
Yeah.
Now we're starting at the top end tonic. Tonic means this, the note of the key of the scale. Okay. Me, till we get to the octave. Okay. And we're covering all the semitone movements, but all the intervals too. Okay. Say. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you, sir.
I thank the Lord for creating you. You're a beautiful creature. Okay.
Getting better with age. Make sure that that return note is solid. Go. Now don't do this. Don't do that. So stay where you are. You work here. Only the mind moves up and down, not the head. Okay? Your head must not move because of pitch. Okay? Do it again. Stay on your note. Too loud, too punchy. But can snatch a breath. Go. Me, me, go. When you go down, we're all about tuning in the pitch as fast as we can.
Yeah.
Me, me, and not me, not me. Don't drag, because it takes longer to get to note. Now, the music's going, if you're singing Rossini operas, you're going a million miles an hour, and you've got this habit of dragging whenever you do leaps, well then you're going to be behind the beat of the orchestra. So, me, it's a mental change. The larynx does whatever the mind tells it. But if you go me, me, every time you drag it, you can do that in slow songs for expressive reasons. Ma, you can do that if you're trying to be expressive, but not if you're trying to be in time. Okay, so do it. Me, go. Support it, go. No, when you go up, don't pull in. Stay out. Yeah, see how everything sits. Whether you go going downward or upward, the energy always sits. It never lifts off and stomach pulls in. Go. Yeah, do it again. Take a bit of breath, go. See how your dead weight's always towards the ground. It never lifts off. Go. Finish there today. Now, what would be helpful for me is if you come here 1 hour or 2 hours before, warm up your falsetto, do the whole falsetto because you've got it recorded now. Do it at home. Do the falsetto and then come over here 1 hour prior, finish an hour prior to coming here, and then in that hour come over, and we just do this scale, the connected voice, if you've warmed up your falsetto ligaments forming. Okay? So they've got to be tuned. Okay? Remember. If you do falsetto away, we'll move faster. Alright, good work.